All right, welcome to the Franchise Time Machine. Hope everyone had a good Saturday. Last night we did our first test run of Creator Roster. I tried the lowball version first because I was a little concerned about how good the lower level player creation experiments went. Um, only from a lowball perspective. For the game, I think it's great. So especially for the pitchers in OOTP25, we got lots of 1 star and half-star players from the player creation engine at bench and scrub level, especially at scrub level. And for position players too, lots of 1 stars, occasionally some half-stars, including Smiley Face Jane. Famously had a shortstop that hit 084 for a season at shortstop. And we just weren't seeing those players being generated when we did our player creation experiments in OOTP26. And that's fine. I think it's actually good for the game because one of the things we talked about was how the scrub level players are actually sub major league level players. But when you go to the player creation page, we're asking for major league level players, but that's not what we're getting at the scrub level at least. And so when we look at the results from this previous week's tests, where we generated 8,000 players at each level for every position, the scrub level just did not have those 1 star and half-star players. And again, for regular gameplay, I think that's awesome. That's perfect because when you ask for major league scrubs, you don't want sub major league scrubs, and that's now what the game is giving us. But that throws off our lowball game because I ran Barry Basher's championship lowball roster last night and generated players, selected the worst ones I could, and and I'm pretty good at it because when I did my test run, um, my lowball record I think would have stood for a while, and that was just like taking the first stab at it, and that was even before people like um, Jeff the Jar, Barry Basher, Sly Fish, and he had each come up with different approaches that were I think that made so much sense and were so successful that they just kind of became standard things in lowball. And so I don't think it was that I was picking bad players or I wasn't good at the game. I do think it was a shift in the player creation engine. And then I realized, well, I don't have to guess. I have an experiment that we can redo. So when I was trying to design the studs and duds game, that's when you get 6 level players and 10 bench and 10 scrub. I initially wanted to be 6 legend and 20 scrubs, but to test out how bad a team full of scrubs would be, I did a test with 26 scrub level players, and that team won 11 games in a major league season. 11 games. the The preseason projection was 5 wins. I actually doubled it by by adjusting the lineups and the pitching rotation and stuff. I even so I gave myself some advantages you don't even get in creator roster. Like I let myself set the lineups, I let myself set the pitching staff, I let myself adjust the sliders, and we still could only push it to 11 wins. But we have this data point from OTB25. We have it actually for every level. And you can see the huge increase from bench level to average level. And I think the good adjustment that the OOTP developments has made is that I think the scrub level now plays more like the bench level, which is what you want from your lowest level of major league players, right? You still want them to be major league players. So what we're going to do is we're going to redo this scrub level test in OTP 26. And we'll do a pack giveaway. I can almost guarantee we are going to win more than 11 games. Um, So let's put the pack giveaway form up. Well, let's start with that. We always start with the pack giveaway form. That way, if anyone has to take off early, um, you can still submit a form. You don't have to be present to win. So I'm actually just going to copy last night's lowball test form because we're expecting this team to be pretty bad. So a lowball form would be pretty appropriate. Okay, so this will be a scrub only team in 2024. Again, we use the most recent season with full data available, which is the 2024 season in OOTP26. Let me put this in the stream. Okay, tonight's stream will be testing. No. Be testing the quality of players generated in OOTP26 at the scrub level. This is a repeat of an experiment we conducted in OOTP25, which was, I can even tell you the episode number. Let's see. Here we go. It's around here somewhere. It was and then the scrub level test was so bad. That's why I did all the other levels, because I was like, well, at what point do they get good? Okay, I see the bench level test. Where is the scrub level test? I guess I'm going to have to do a Control F search for scrub. Sorry, I'm searching through my presentation deck to try to find the cover sheet for the experiment I did. I found the ones for all the other levels. Star, average, bench. You would think it would have been right before bench level, but I didn't see it. Here we go. It was experiment 191. Or, sorry, episode 191. So they went 11 and 151. I think this actually paragraph to stay. We've noticed the player creation engine OOTP26 is using much fewer 0.5 and 1.0 star players at scrub and bench levels. Yep, fine to be all scrubs tonight. Hey, Tommy, all I do is welcome in. Welcome back. So this test will be used to determine or to help determine what changes need to be made to the creator roster lowball rules for OOTP26. I'm going to put here note, this is actually a good change. For gameplay, because we noted previously that scrub level players were sub MLB level, but were being generated for MLB level play. Right, so it's actually a good thing for the game. It's just, it's not great for low ball. Okay, so we'll create players to fill, and also unlike creator roster, I gave myself several advantage. I gave myself the opportunity to adjust lineups, pitching roles, and strategy sliders in the OOTP25 version of this experiment. For consistency, I will be allowed to make similar changes tonight. Okay, so we'll create players to fill all 26 roster spots to replace the 2024 MLB team. I think we will do the White Sox. $41 and $121, right? With 26 career players. Instead of, I think we'll just put all scrubs. I also did not set my position choices, position order in advance, allowing for some flexibility based on what players we got. For consistency, I'll be allowed to make similar changes tonight. Okay. Again, for, oh, this is an old form. We got to update this to say OOTP26. Again, your login ID is how you'll get your packs. It is case sensitive. Yeah, fine to be watching win the division. I'm telling you, the scrub level is so much better right now. I mean, they'll still be bad. I mean, we had legend level players in the mix, and we still won, what was it, 72 games last night? Right, the questions will be the same though. Will this team have regular season win percentage below 500? Yes, below 500, or no, 500 or better. Will it be last in its division? Will it have the lowest regular season win percentage in the league? Will it have the lowest regular season win percentage in the majors? Will it have a game score of 1? How many regular season games will this team win? And again, this is the last question in the survivor style section. If first place is determined by now, everyone gets back into the running for the second part. If neither is determined by now, then first and second will be determined by the new rule, which is whoever gets the most of these. Right. All right, how many games behind will finish in this division? What will be the major league rank in runs scored, batting average, home runs hit, ERA, strikeouts thrown, defensive efficiency? Now, this is not low ball, so we should not be worst in any of these. Well, no. We probably will be worse in some of these because this is actually worse than low ball. I take that back. Actually, maybe I should take these out because we probably are going to be last. No, you know what? Let's leave them in because, everyone can pick last, but if we're not last, someone's going to win that one. Because I don't think everyone's going to pick 30th for all these. And then what is the lowest batting average on the team for batters with at least 300 plate appearances? Lowest OPS, and then highest strikeout percentage for batters. And for pitchers, it's highest ERA, at least 100 innings pitched, highest WHIP with at least 100 innings pitched, and the highest home runs per 9 innings with at least 100 innings pitched. I think these are pretty good. All right, so let me I'll put this up. While I publish the form. All right, link to form for tonight's 10-pack giveaway. Now, before we to give extra time for people to fill out the form, I also wanted to jump back into. I decided to micromanage the tournament tonight because I noticed that I had advanced to the next round. I looked ahead. My next round opponent had already been determined, and when I looked, they had a lot of lefties in their lineup. Both VR and even VL, they left a lot of lefties in their lineup. So I completely switched my pitching rotation over. I had 3 lefties in the bullpen. I moved them all to the starting rotation. But they needed rest because they had pitched relief too recently. So I had to start a righty first. I lost that game, but then the 3 games my lefties pitched, they all won. We won all 3 of those games, and then we won another game with a righty pitching. I could only do 3 because I only had 3 lefties on the roster. But it worked out really well. So here's the opponent I was playing in that round. And here are their lineups. And VR, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lefties and 2 switchies. Right, so if I threw a righty, they're only going to face 2 righties. But if I threw a lefty, they would face 1, 2, 3, 4 lefties and 2 switchies. A lefty would face 4 lefties, including their 3-hole hitter and their 6-hole hitter. And so for me, that's like a quick way I just figure out like which handedness, right, would I prefer to throw. Right, the righty's only going to face 2 righties. The lefty's going to face 4 lefties. So then I took my team, which had these 4 lefties in the pen, and I just flipped them and I put them into the rotation. From the rest, I knew I couldn't start game 1 with one, but I knew I could put them in starting in game 2. The other thing is when you switch a pitcher's position from reliever to starter or vice versa, their fatigue will update based on their role. So right now that he's 90, Ronel Blanco is an example. Is 93% rested as a reliever. If I decide I'm going to start him again, because he was in the rotation, I believe, make him a starter. Now he's 48% rested as a starter. And this is why I always make sure my relief pitchers are listed as relievers, so I get an accurate fatigue assessment. If you don't, then you're getting the wrong fatigue number. So we have 3 minutes to go. So I'm going to do this real quick before this next round fires. So I'm going to take these 3 lefties, put them back in the pen. And I'm trying to remember who I had in the rotation. I think Heel, Peralta, and probably Blanco, who I already put up there. All right, so now these lefties, I have to set their position to reliever. So I get the correct fatigue. And now Heel, I have to make a starter. Actually, Heel might have been in the pen because of his control. Francis probably. And I do think Blanco was in there. I did have one of the bronzes in the rotation, one in the pen. Okay, now let me put them in the... And so Peralta's now a starter. Okay, so Francis is at 100%. Darvish is at 100%. So they're going to be my one and... Well, one of them has to be my number one. So I'm starting a rested pitcher. Let me look real quick to see what my opponent's lineup looks like. Okay, a righty's going to face 2 righties. A lefty's going to face... Oh wait, is this the right team? No, this is the last team. This is the new team I'm facing. Okay, here you see a lefty would only face 1 lefty. A righty's going to face a ton of righties. 1, 2, 3, 4 righties. A lefty's only face 1 lefty, so I'm going to go all righty. This is why I'm switching it back. So Francis and Darvish are the only ones fully rested. And Darvish is less splitty, so we're going to go Darvish first. And then by then, will any of these guys be rested? No. So we'll go Francis second. I'm hoping someone's rested by then. They might not be. Peralta might not be fully rested by then. So I might have to choose someone else. McCullers, I don't mind. He's 100% rested. Good. Okay. So now McCullers is a starting pitcher. Let me submit this real quick with Darvish as my starter in case it fires. I usually end up putting Peralta in the pen, not because he's not a good pitcher. He's actually a great profile, but the 50 stamina can kind of hurt. Okay, this bullpen is not how I have my bullpen noise set up, but I don't want to have no bullpen assignments when it fires. So we'll let it fire, and then, or we'll let the new sim come in, and then I'll adjust the bullpen rules. I don't want to do it now and then lose it if it comes in while I'm working on it. I think the rotation order, though, let's see. Darvish, McCullers second. And then by then, No, neither of them will be rested. So yeah, we're gonna have to go Francis third, even though I prefer to go Pepio third. There we go. Now that it fired, or now that it's come in, we'll have another 8 minutes to make changes. But hopefully Darvish is my starter in game one. And we won. Nice. It's working. Although it wasn't the pitching, it was the 8 runs in the eighth inning. Well, to be fair, the pitching kept us in it. So let's see how Darvish did against all those righties. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 earned. Nice. Nice. Okay, so now we have a better idea of how rested these guys will be. There's actually a chance Blanco will be rested for the game 3 start. And I'd rather have Blanco than Francis, and I'd rather have Pepio than Francis. So this will be our rotation now. Let me save that. All right, now let me get the bullpen back to how I had it. This is funky, but I usually go closer, 2 stoppers, 2 setup, 2 middle, and if I can, a long relief. And then I use backup roles to make sure we have more than 1 or 2 pitchers in each role. It's I don't recommend it for everybody. It probably seems insane to a lot of people. But it works for me. All right, so we'll go Senga as our closer. Peralta's probably going to be our right-handed stopper. Or maybe Heel. Your closer will actually pitch less than your stoppers. That's why I put my second or third best pitcher at closer, and I put my best relievers at stopper. So I think on this team, my best lefty is... well, it depends on how you look at it, but I like to have a lot of stuff in the stopper role, so we'll go Rodon. And then we'll use Manaya as the setup, lefty setup. And we'll use Senga as the lefty, as a righty setup. So now I have 2 righties in middle relief and 1 lefty. The lesser of the righties will move to long relief. So it's Soriano versus Garcia. And Garcia has the worst home run suppression. So we'll move Garcia to long relief. Okay, and then I want my stoppers coming in at the 7th inning or later. And then my closers coming in the 8th or later. Heel will be a backup stopper, and my stoppers will be backup closers. And then these guys will be backup middle relief. My middle relievers will be backup setup men. And my long relief will be backup middle reliever. So that worked out well. We shut down that team with the big left-handed lineups, and then we turned it around in time to get a righty against a team that has more righty bats. You see, we held that lefty lineup team to 2 runs, 1 run, and then it was a shootout 9-6, but we did still manage to win it. So that worked out really well. It's not always going to work out. I mean, this is super small sample sizes. So RNG will have a big impact, but you give yourself whatever edge you can if you're going to bother micromanaging. So that time it paid off, and I had time because I had the stream, I think, or the idea for the stream already ready to go. Okay, so with that, again, here's what we're doing. We're going to make an all-scrub team. Again, I have to stop saying that. It's not an all-scrub team. It's a team of all players generated at the scrub level. What happens is there's a lot of variability, especially if you go lower into the levels. And so when you generate 5 scrubs, luck of the draw, some will be really bad, a couple might be good. And we try to pick the best ones to get to a team that's better than scrub level. But in OOTP25, the best we can manage with 11 wins. We're going to try to top that tonight. Let me check one thing too. I need to make sure I sign up for Iron Cap. I'm pretty sure I did. The other exciting thing tonight is we're going to have a chance to raid into Dr. Dynastic, who is doing a front page stream that's starting at midnight Pacific time, so in about an hour and a half. Okay, Iron Cap we did not sign up for yet, so it fired an hour and a half ago, so we should still be able to get in. Yep, there we go. Iron Cap. And then yeah, I don't know that he gets a choice. I assume they assigned him that time. He also works a very odd schedule, so it might actually not be too hard for him. Right, because I feel like he doesn't he go into work like at 3 a.m. or something? And then he streams for us at the end of his day before he goes to bed, I think. So he may have chosen midnight Pacific, because he's used to working that time. So yeah, that kind of makes sense. It's almost like him getting up early. And then if he streams all day, it's like him working his whole day and then streaming for us. I think that's how his day usually goes. But yeah, I'm super psyched to raid into it because he does so much for our stream, especially on Fridays. He's always been a big proponent of our stream. Always, speaks highly of us, thinks of us whenever he has a chance to incorporate me in anything he does on his stream, even if it's having to choose the Astros all-time greatest teams. And then, super nice about raiding into us every Friday, Friday afternoon. So I'm very happy to raid into him for a change. It's also, this is the third full circle moment I've had now. I've had a chance to raid into Laptop Hound. I've had a chance to raid into EVC and NYC2 stream. And now I finally get to raid into Dr. Dynastic. And those are the three streamers that I watched the most when I first started playing Perfect Team. So for me, that's a really cool moment to raid into them. All right, so how are we doing in this Iron Cap? Let me take a peek. One in the second round. It's a best of 5 tournament. Who are the Dunwich Horror? Camel. I don't know Camel. Alright, it's still pretty early in that tournament though. Claydog can barely get up early for things you have to do. Well, I think for him though, I'm sure he would consider a front page stream a must do event, right? Like, I think Twitch is a big part of his life now, so I'm sure for him it's a must do event. But I get your point, Claydog. I would much rather push and stay up late than have to get up early. I find it hard to get up early. Yeah, you would definitely scan for after work. I totally agree with that. That's all right. We're gonna use the creator roster quick start since it has all the settings we want, and it does take place in 2024. This will be experiment all scrub, even though I just said all scrub is not the right way to think about this. It's the easiest way to write it in some kind of shorthand. Oops. I meant to save the name, and I did. I think I can remember it though. I called it exp all hyphen scrub vo1. Yeah, do that from do it as fast as you can, Rev Junior, without reading it reading it carefully. All right, Chicago White Sox are the team we're taking over. We're going to be in commissioner mode. Cannot be fired. Ah, these quick starts are so convenient. What a good addition to OOTP25. And then, of course, carries over to all future versions. I believe they do what the backups do, but they make it so accessible. Uh, I found the backups really hard to restore just because I had a hard time following the file um, navigation screens because they're just not the same as the Windows folder navigation. And I don't think there's anything wrong with the game. I just think like my brain just doesn't absorb it well, and so I find the quick starts way easier to manage. Okay, so mailbox updates, manager option updates. All right, so the first thing we need to do is delete out the roster. And that's right. I can keep doing this because we don't lock the form until after we, until right before we start simming. So you don't have to rush unless you have to take off. Okay, so player creation, just like player importing for historic saves, go to your manager name, pull down menu, GM and manager actions, sign a free agent. And then if you're in commissioner mode, you'll have this pull down menu for actions, create players, import players. We're going to create players today. And we're going to go one position, one roster spot at a time. For each roster spot, we create 5 players. This tonight will be all scrub level. And we pick which one we want to keep, and we delete the other 4. And we're going to try to pick the best players we can. We'll go starting. Maybe we'll go pitchers first, and then we'll go lineup. And we'll go 13 pitchers, 13 position players. Maybe we'll go 12, 14. Maybe we'll go 12, 14. Oh, actually, these pitchers can be pretty bad, so we may need some bullpen depth. We might have to go 13, 13. Average age, scrub level, and 5 of these. Yeah, see, 2 stars and 3, 4, 1.5. This is pretty good star level. Now the ratings still look pretty bad, but these star levels are pretty good compared to what you see. Now I think Garcia is the easy pick here. the top control, the top home run suppression, the top BABIP. The only downside is the lower stamina. But he's by far the best pitcher, in my opinion. Now, we don't have to put scrub because they're all scrubs, but I do want to put that he's one of our starting pitchers. Yeah, starting pitchers. Average age. Scrub level. Now, it looks like Sandy Maldonado is the obvious one, but he's got 30 control. I could get 10 more control, but give up 5 stuff and 5 home run suppression. I don't know that I can do... Well, although we did determine that control seems less problematic in OOTP26, but, I mean, 20 is so low. You know what? I do want a lefty in there. Maybe we'll try Maldonado. Oh, the other thing I let myself do that we don't do in Creator Roster is I get to look at the pitches. Okay, 40, 40, 45. They're all minus pitches, but none of them are trash. 45, 45, 50. Okay, we're going to go Maldonado. Now, the reason I look at the pitches is the AI will pitch all the pitches. Even if there's a terrible pitch, it will get thrown, which means it will also get rocked. And so if I can find a profile with, even if just flat pitches, I'd rather have that one than a profile with a negative pitch, because that negative pitch will get thrown and it will be problematic. My understanding is that the perfect team does not work that way. And I actually heard an interesting... Who was talking about this? And it makes sense that the perfect team engine is more simplified. Because for competitive games like that, you want it to be a little simpler. It sounded like there were both like functional reasons why you want it to be simpler, for like ease of calculation and stuff, but also for competitiveness. Like you don't want it to be uber complicated, which also makes sense, right? You want people to be able to feel like they have an understanding of how it works so that they can pick the right cards. Otherwise, like, what's the point? Why not just enter a coin flipping contest? So it does make sense that the perfect team engine would simplify some things over the base game engine. And one of the things that was called out was this notion that pitches matter. That in perfect team, the outcome of the at bat is determined, and then the pitches and stuff are just part of like the animation. I am interested to get official confirmation from OOTP on that, but I think I'm trying to remember who was talking. If Spore was one of the people or not, because he, working for OOTP, I would assume he would know a little bit about how the engine works. He could maybe confirm or deny that, but anyway, it did make sense. It is something I was thinking about asking in the forums. I don't know if that's the kind of thing they would be willing to weigh in on. But it would be interesting to know that. But it did make sense to me from like a consumer perspective. All right, we're going to make a decision on whether to go 12 or 13 pitchers after we've gotten our pitchers. All right, top control, top PBABIP, top home run suppression, top stuff. J.D. DeBoer. I have 5 more scrub level starters. Okay, I think the two I'd be choosing between are Sizemore and Last. It's 10 more control for 5 less home run suppression and a lot less stamina. The stamina is problematic. But I think I'm going to take that. I'm going to go Sizemore. All right, I think this is 4. Yeah, one more. Oh, look at that pitching rotation. Jeez. Still better, I think, than the OTP25 one, though. Oh, look at this. Leone, top control by far, top PBAB, top home run suppression by 10, top step stuff, and second best stamina. No brainer. Gabriel Leone. Oh, what a pull after that last one. This is a great one. All right. Sorry, so let's see. We got righty, 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 lefty, righty. Okay, so we only got one lefty on our pitching staff so far. All right, let's generate some relievers. Now, if we want lefties, we know that the lefty percentage is much higher for relievers and closers. So let's crank out a few relievers and try to find some lefties. Wow, look at these lefty relievers in this stuff. All right, perfect. Throws lefty, top stuff, top HRA, top PBABIP, top control. do another reliever. Wow, that last batch was definitely an outlier batch. They had those 50s in there. Man, we got really lucky with that set because this group is pretty awful. If I go top control, I got to take 20 home run suppression. 20. All right, if I'm going to go 20 control, which I pretty much have to, I might as well go top stuff, top PBABIP, and we'll go second best HRA. But yeah, this batch is awful. Casey Charles. We're going to bury this guy in the back of the bullpen for sure. All right, let's try rolling the dice again with 5 more relievers. There we go. I see a 50 stuff peeking out there. All right, everyone's got 20 control. So at least we don't have to worry about that. So if we factor that out, I think it's a no-brainer. Top stuff, top HRA, top PBABIP. Second best stamina. Manuel Perez for sure. All right, he's a righty though, so we still only have one lefty in the pen right now. So let's try that again. Try to get another lefty. Oh man, more 20 controls. I can't go. I don't think I can go this 30 control because that's 30 home run suppression. So we'll go top stuff, top home run suppression, top PBABIP, worst control. Not splitty at all. Unfortunately, it's another righty. We're still looking for a lefty. Right, a full quarter, I believe, or more of relievers are lefty. We just got unlucky with this batch. I think if we can get one more good lefty, then we'll start cranking out some closers and see how that goes. A lot lower percentage of lefty closers though, so I want to make sure we get a couple of lefties at least. Not that the AI will definitely use them appropriately, but at least we'll have them in there. There you go. Again with the 20 controls. But a lefty, 50 stuff, 45 home run suppression, 45 PBABIP. Not too splitty. Unfortunately, we do have to take the 20 control. All right, we've got 2 more spots right now. Let's generate a couple closers. All right, top stuff, top control. The other top stuff, top stuff, top control, and top PO. If we want top home run suppression, we got to go to worst control. So let's pick between these 35 home run suppression guys. They all three have 45 P BABIP. So really, we're just picking between stuff and stamina. So the highest stuff comes with the lowest stamina. I don't think stamina is important enough. Oh, and it's a lefty. All right, we'll take Bill Parker, the rare lefty closer. And we actually get 25 control. All right, we'll go one more closer for a 12th pitcher, and then we'll see how the batters go and whether or not we can go to a 13th pitcher. Ah, nice. 70s in the 6L. Congrats, Clay Dog. Who are you playing against? Oh, so you've already advanced, but you're waiting for your opponent. Okay, nice. So not just congrats on making the semis, but also the extra rest. Man, another batch of 20 control guys. We're going top home run suppression. Comes with second best stuff, second best P BABIP. A little splitty, but not too bad. I don't know though. Actually, I can get 5 more stuff and 5 more P BABIP for just 5 less home run suppression, and lose the splittiness. I'm gonna go for it. We're going Cadell. All right, let's go ahead and start generating some catchers now. Wow, 25 and 20 P BABIPs. I mean, I think it's a choice between going average contact, which is rare and valuable, but super low power, or going a flatter profile and be just below average contact, power, and eye. The defense is somehow even worse, though, for this guy than it is for Gallegos. I'm Drew getting a low diamond wildcard spot. Congratulations. And Flash winning a high bronze division. Nicely done. I should probably check my teams tonight to make sure I have 4-man rotations for anyone going into the playoffs. Yeah, I guess we're gonna go Gallegos. Contact and no power. Contact that has been more important relatively speaking in OTP26, so we'll steer into that a little bit. Yeah, he's a right-handed batting catcher. Okay, look at this. We do have half stars in the mix, even though our stats said we don't have many at all. Here we go with 2 half stars in one batch. Now we do have a 1.5 star. We have 2 1 stars. I was hoping to get a left-handed bat to platoon with our other guy, but these lefties are both pretty bad. I don't know why this guy's a 1.5 star. His defense is bad. His bat is bad. It must be the 50 bunting. I don't know why he's a 1.5 star. All right, I think we're gonna go with him though. He's got the best contact, and of the other 45 contact guys, he's got the best power. I kind of want to do a third catcher because that second catcher was so bad, but he can be the backup. All right, let's generate our shortstop and see what we can get. Oof, if you want the 50 contact, we have to go 25 defense. And the defense ratings have been harsher in 26, but these are pretty rough. 240s, 235s, and a 25. I think it's Lionel Solly. 40 defense and the best bat among the 40 defenders. Does he have multiple? No, he's a shortstop only, too. That's rough. All right, we need another shortstop, so let's just go ahead and generate one now. .45 defender, terrible bat. All right, we're gonna go good bat, 30 defender, and let's hope he can play other positions. Oh, he can play third base a little less poorly than he can play shortstop. We'll make him our third baseman. Yeah, Texican, I would defer to Clay Dog on any clubhouse points questions. Clay Dog, thanks for answering. I'm Drew's question too. I've mostly after spending a bunch of clubhouse points on gold packs early on to try to get live cards for missions and perfect team live. I haven't really been spending my clubhouse points, so and I don't really pay attention to league too much. So I'm not the best person to ask about that. I'm basically saving my clubhouse points to use to get cards for missions. I will say though, who is it? It has the outfielder has an amazing card in the clubhouse shop. Is it Tyler O'Neill? That card looks pretty good. But again, I'm not in a high level league, so I don't know how it would play. All right, let's do one more shortstop. I would like to get a starting shortstop, but I don't mind continuing to do this to get second baseman, another third baseman. We are seeing though, one of the things we showed in our testing is that when you go down levels to bench and scrub, the position flexibility of even the shortstops goes down quite a bit. Tons of position flexibility at the legend and higher levels, but not so much at the bench and scrub level. Yeah, again, as a casual observer, though, I would agree with what Clay Dog's saying. I think the cards in the clubhouse shop are probably getting a little stale in terms of power creep. Okay, this is interesting. We can go 55 defender, 70 steal, but a 45 contact, 30 power, 45 eye profile. We can jump up to a 60 contact, 45 eye profile, but we lose 10 power and we lose 15 defense. But we gain 15 contact. That's pretty big. All right, this guy might be our 3-hole hitter, so I'm going to go with Tim Sill. Oh, he can play. Oh, look at this. He's a 55 at second. Meet our new second baseman. Nice. Nice. This is great. All right. I'm going to do another short. Well, first, let me make him our second baseman. So Tim Still is going to be our second baseman. All right. Oops. Shortstop. Average age. Scrub quality. 5 of these. Oh, I think we have our starting shortstop. 60 defense, 45 contact, 40 power. This is great. This guy's awesome. For scrub level, this is a great player. Ruben Santiago, no doubt. Oh, look at this. What a slick fielder. And look at this bat for scrub. That's awesome. That is great. All right, now let's get some first baseman. Yeah, Clay Dog. I think if I did not put money in, but if I were going to, I would have done it at the beginning because the live cards are going for such a premium because of the live missions that um, that packs are probably close to break even expected value, which never happens during the season. But I think early in the season they were probably close to, if not positive, expected value because live cards were selling for so much. So yeah, I think I don't. It's not a guarantee that every cycle will start that way, but in I would say there's probably like that in OTP25 too. If you were going to put money in, the beginning would have been the time to do it. Yeah, even if weren't live missions, I would think that just people would be seeking out cards for missions, and so I would think any packs would be closer to break even or higher early in the cycle at launch. All right, five first baseman. Ideally, we'll get some power here. Okay, of the 40 power guys, I do like Bobby Temple the best with the 45 contact, 55 BABIP, and the 50i. Now, if we flip it and we go 50 contact, both guys have 35 power, both guys have 45i. So I'd probably lean towards this 50 BABIP guy. He's a top defender too, but we don't care about defense. So I think I'm going Bobby Temple, left-handed bat. Do we have a righty in here? Oh, they're all righties. Nice. 55 power, two of them. I don't care about defense, so we're going to go with the best bat here. 55 power, 45 contact. Now, do I want. There are two 55 power guys. Do I want 5 more contact or 10 more I? Well, the 10 more I guy comes with terrible avoid K. So I think we're going to go Casey Mahoney. We now have a good platoon at first base, too. Actually, Sokol's the more splitty one, so he's probably better suited to the platoon. Again, we don't get to do this in Creator Roster, but we do in this game. Yeah, Sokol crushes lefties. So if we're going to go platoon, let's go Sokol. All right, let's get to some outfielders before we run out of roster spots. Let's go center fielders. We found that center field always comes with other outfield positions. The reverse is not always true. So we'll start with center fielders. Now, again, that position flexibility, though, goes down as you go down levels. So we might see more of that here. Now, we want at least one good fielding center fielder. And we have one here that's actually a decent bat, 50 contact, 50 BABIP. But do we grab a power hitting outfielder while we can? 60 power, 55 I, 25. This is a 3 true outcomes guy. Strikeouts, walks, or homers. All right, we're going to grab him. We haven't seen one like this, and we're going to grab him while he can. Ricardo Morales. Yeah, see, he can play all 3 outfield positions. He might be our starting left fielder if we don't get a better center. If we do get a better center fielder. Okay, let's generate another center fielder. That one went really well. I think we have our starting left field. I'm not going to assign him to left field yet, though, until we get a couple more outfielders. So we get caught up on chat. Yeah, again, Claydog is more active in live spec than I am, but I think there's a lot of just paying attention to who's doing well, and then there's timing and buying them, but mostly timing and selling them. Especially if a player's jumped up but then plateaued or even dropped off, you want to get out of that player as soon as you can. But if you think they're going to keep climbing, then of course you hang on to them. I was not good at getting out of players on time, but I did hang on to enough players long enough that I still did really well in live spec in PT25. But I could have done even better if I'd been paying more attention during the season and gotten out of a few players who had jumped up and then dropped back down. Ooh, there's a 65 fielding center fielder here with 55 contact. We're going to grab him. All right, now he had a lot of like this is our true center fielder, so we're gonna leave him in center, which also means we can take Morales and make him a left fielder. All right. The fielders are not great here. 250s. I'd say the bats are even worse. Or we could go 45 control contact, 40 power, 50 I, and just plan to use him as a DH or maybe hope he's a good left fielder. Let's go for the bat. We have good gloves in left and center now, so we can use this spot for a DH type role. He's a 45 left fielder, or potential to be, so that's not too bad. All right, one more center fielder. Ooh, 40 contact, 60 power, 55 eye. And 80 stealing? A power eye base stealer. All right, we're taking Andy Easterday. This avoid K is terrible, but the power I is going to be nice. $12. Okay, we only have one more spot left. Wow, that filled up fast. Let's see what the AI wants to do here. Who's DHing? Solly. Okay, our shortstop is backing up at third, which I don't love. All right, so let's generate a third baseman to make sure we have a backup, and hopefully that third baseman can play other positions. We could do shortstop, but again, at the lower level, there's no guarantee that it can play third base. The position flexibility drops as you go down levels. Okay, we definitely want one of the 50 contact guys. We could go 50 contact, 35 power, 45 bio. The defense is bad, but then maybe this potentially becomes our DH too, and then back up third baseman. He can play first base. That's nice. All right, let's see what the AI does with that now. Yep, Haskins is starting now at third base. Versus righties. Steenerson is starting at third base versus lefties. Haskins moves to DH. Oh, they're swapping DH and third base. That's weird. I mean, the other thing I don't love is our right fielder is being backed up by our left fielder. All right, let's do our pitching staff. Let's see if we can we get by with 12 pitchers. It wants to start Manuel Perez, but we're gonna put Sizemore back in the rotation. All right, let's see. The staminas in our rotation are decent. We have 150 and a 55. The bullpen stamina is not bad. All 30s to 35 and a 45. I just don't know if that's enough to get through the season. I mean, I think we need a backup right fielder that's not starting somewhere else. I don't know, chat. What do y'all think? 12 pitchers, and then get a real backup right fielder who actually might generate good enough to start somewhere, or do we go with a 13th pitcher? With the other saying, so we have to generate a reliever or a closer, and it's going to be a scrub. The thing I worry about with this bullpen is the control is so low that we may burn through that stamina pretty fast. Yeah, that's what I think I just talked myself into it too by looking at the control and stamina. Claydog thinks you have to go 13 pitchers. I think he might be right. I'm not just saying that too because he's supporting what I thought 10 seconds ago. Yeah, let's. I think we need. I think he's right. Let's do another pitcher. Save this now and then run it again with a hitter. That's interesting. We can do a quick start of this. That's a good idea. Yeah, let's do the pitcher route. Or yeah, let's do the pitcher route and see how that works out. If it looks like we could have gotten by with 12 pitchers, we'll run it back maybe tomorrow night or something. Oops. All right, let's do pitchers. All right, let's see what we get. Oof. Oh wait, these are batting. Let's go to pitching. Oh, another batch of 20 control guys. God, the control on these scrubs is so bad. All right, we're going top stuff, top hormone suppression, top PBABIP, tied for top control at 20. Brian Anderson. At least we got a decent pitcher out of that. Decent being relative, of course. All right. Let's have it regenerate the bullpen for us with our new pitcher. All right, let's see. I think Leone's our ace. Garcia's probably second. They said DeBoer's second. I mean, everything's equal except Leone has, or Garcia has better control. He's also less splitty. Oh, but what happens is you face more righties, so it's probably giving a little more credit to the higher stuff for DeBoer. That's what's happening here. DeBoer has a better stamina too, so I'm okay with going DeBoer second than Garcia. And then between Sizemore and Maldonado, oh, it's the control versus everything else. I'm going to go Maldonado Sizemore, I think. And then we're going to go solid start, highest rested. And then who's going to close for us? Okay, Diaz is by far our best relief pitcher because he has the best control. Parker is second. I want Diaz as my stopper. And then I guess Brinkley is our right-handed stopper. Do you want to put a closer on top of that? Like, normally I do, but normally I have better pitchers than this, so it's hard to say. Spyface Jane, thank you for the subscription. 5 months. Are you gonna? Oh, I can't raid into you tonight, Spyface. I was gonna ask you if you're gonna stream tonight, but we were gonna raid into Dr. Dynastic's front page stream. I want to support his front page stream tonight. But let's give Spyface Jane a shout out, who often does stream after us. In case you don't know, if you're new, Spyface Jane, one of the best perfect team players out there, crushed it in PT25, doing well again in PT26, and has started streaming. So no better way to learn how to be a better perfect team player than watching one of the best perfect team players build rosters and do drafts. And just in general, like a fun, interesting stream. So highly recommend you check out Smiley Face Jane. Give her a follow. I don't know if I feel good enough about any of these guys to put them on top as the closer. Maybe Perez? We'll put Perez up there. Alright, who's my second best lefty to set up? Parker, they're right next to each other. Okay, we're going to go McKee with a higher home run suppression. Even though Parker with the higher control is tempting. I'll go McKee. And then who's my right-handed setup? Anderson, Cadell, or Charles. I think it's Anderson. And the lowest HRA in Charles is going to be our long relief. Yeah, this is it. McKee or Anderson? McKee is going to be another backup closer. Middle relief. Setup. Setup. Middle relief. Okay, and then our lineups. We'll have the AI get us started. Okay, so let's look at who's on our bench and see if we want to start any of these guys. It's not create a roster, so I'm going to use my own, the basic version of my batter splits. It's the basic version because I'm not including, I'm not breaking out contact by BABIP and avoid K. It just makes it easier to follow. When I'm doing roster building, I usually do the full version, which it breaks down contact into power and avoid K, but for this, I'll just use this one. Okay, so Bobby Temple, first baseman, better against righties. Look at Sokol crushing it versus lefties. Probably still better versus righties, too. So what we'll do is we'll start Sokol, but we'll put Bobby Temple as every other day versus righties. That'll give Sokol some rest and Temple some at-bats. He's not a big step down versus righties. Maybe every third day versus righties. Okay, Solly is on the bench. He's a backup shortstop. He's an okay contact eye guy versus lefties. He can steal a little bit, but not enough to platoon him or anything. And then Dangle's a terrible defender and not a great hitter. So I'm okay with him being on the bench. Easterly is a power eye guy in the outfield. I don't necessarily know that I love him batting third versus righties. We don't have many choices, though. All right, let's also see our depth chart. We'll go Temple every third day versus righties. Okay, I think this is mostly it. And then our strategy. I think we'll just run sabermetric. My fatigue settings I use for tournament play. I don't really use them for league play. And this is more like league play. So I think we'll leave it as is. We'll just run straight sabermetric. Okay, so this is what we've got. This is what we're running. So I think those of you who are waiting to see what the team looked like before filling out your pack giveaway forms. And again, the OTP25 version won 11 games, but I think you can see these players are generating better than those scrubs did in OTP25. I think this is a far better team than that. We had ads coming in 20 minutes, but I think I'm going to give you your 3-minute warning right now for the pack giveaway form and go ahead and use that time to go fill up my water and get ready for the sim. So in 3 minutes, when we get back from the ad roll, if there is an ad roll, we'll go over the guesses. I'll close the form. We'll go over the guesses, and then we'll start the sim. That way, our sim won't get interrupted by ads. Hold on, my alt on my tablet that I use to see if the ad break is over is getting that error 2000 again from Twitch. There are entire Reddits and articles based on this error 2000. Apparently, Twitch gives you all these things to fix it, and none of them actually work. Which I suspected as much because I tried all those fixes and they didn't seem to work. Like, upgrade your browser, it was already updated. Clear your cache, all that does is make you have to log back in again. And then reading the posts, like, none of those fixes actually worked for anybody. I find that mine tends to resolve itself over time, but I wish I knew how to force it to resolve because it's kind of annoying when it keeps happening. Especially when it keeps happening during a mothership stream. And then I don't realize it for a while, and like so that account doesn't get drops. Fortunately, it doesn't happen on my other computer's browser. I have had it happen like once in a week. This thing on my laptop, it happens 7 times a mothership stream without exaggeration. And I've updated Chrome on this. I've tried different browsers. Still, it just happened again. Look at that. Just happened while I was discussing it. Happened again. Okay, enough about that. Let's go ahead and run the ad roll. Oh, that's right. I was trying to get this to work so I could tell when the ad roll was over. That was the whole point. Yeah, so I'm going to be flying a little blind. I'm not going to know when the ad roll is over or not. I wonder if I close this tab and just reopen. Oh no, there it goes. Now it's loading. It's funny. As soon as I threaten to close the tab, it works. It's almost like it's listening to me. Yeah, error 2000. It's a thing apparently. Okay. All right, looks to be up and running. Let me run the ad roll. Good luck with your guesses, everybody.
All right, as usual, I don't know if the ads even rolled, but I am back and ready to keep streaming if you all are. If you have not submitted your pack giveaway form and plan to, please let me know. Otherwise, I'm going to close the form here in a second. Just like the first time I did this one, I don't know where we're going to end up. I had a pretty good feeling. Um, Wait, as usual, I have no idea what's going on. Did I say that? Wait, are you quoting me, Clay Dog? Did I actually say that? If I did, that's kind of amazing. But I will get. I mean, I would hazard to guess that this team will do better than the 11 wins that the OTP version of this team had in 2023. But that's about as much as I can guess. Oh, right. No, I never know if ads ran or not. It tells me the chat window on Twitch tells me if they're running. So I get up and I go. I mute OBS. I take off my Bluetooth headphones because I know Claydog has heard me tell this many times. I've never activated the microphone on my Bluetooth headphones. I use a USB mic for my audio. I've never used the Bluetooth headphones, but I'm so worried that one day they'll turn on while I'm going to the bathroom in a naked gun scenario. So I always leave them in the room where my computer is. But yeah, so it's I type in slash commercial 180. I hit enter. It tells me I'm on a 180-second commercial break. So I get up and I go, putting the headphones down, fill my water, go to the bathroom, wash my hands, of course, come back. Sometimes I just go get water or I get a snack if I don't get to use the restroom. But usually the whole routine ends up taking a little under 3 minutes. But a lot of times when I come back, there are no ads running. And EVC told me that a lot of times that's because there's not enough ad inventory. So apparently it's not and again, error 2000 has come up. So I would not have known anyway if ads had rolled. But yes, I often don't know what's going on specifically when it comes to ads. But also generally for other stuff too. I sometimes don't know what's going on. That is true. I cannot deny it. Okay, we got another uh, entry came in, so that's good. I feel like no one's asking me to keep the form open. We did get another entry in, so I feel pretty good about closing it now. The form is closed. Let me go ahead and put the guesses up on the screen here. Let me just adjust the positioning a little bit. All right. There are 9 of you in the contest tonight. Good luck, everybody. And here's what the guesses look like. Question 1. Will this team have a regular season win percentage below 500? 2/3 of you think it will be below 500. 1/3 of you think it will be 500 or better. Will it finish last in its division? Yeah, over 3/4 of you think it will finish last in its division, but only 2/3 think it'll be last in the. Who are we again? We're the White Sox. Last in the AL. But also 2/3 you think it will be last in the majors, which makes sense because the White Sox were so bad. If that spot in the AL Central is going to finish last in the AL,
could very well finish last in the majors. Will this team have a game score of 1? 2/3 again if you think so. And the rest are numerical questions, so we'll save those for after the sim. But now that we have locked the form and checked out the guesses, we could do my favorite part, which is not saving the game, but advancing to opening day so we can see the preseason predictions. All right, this is MLB reports and info. Preseason. Now, don't get upset if the preseason predictions are way off from what you guessed. Preseason predictions we found, especially when we're messing around with editor or creative players, not always super accurate, but still fun to look at. Okay, the White Sox 44 and 118. That is a. Remember, when I did the preseason predictions in OOTP25, it predicted 5 wins. Claydog always gets upset at the preseason prediction. It's half the fun. But one thing we did learn is because the preseason predictions seem to be especially off when we've messed with the editor, I don't believe it's doing what I used to think it did. I used to think it just like rapidly ran thousands of simulations, like Monte Carlo style, and then summarize those, synthesize those into a prediction. I don't think it's doing that, or would not be fooled by some of the stuff that we've done that has had it way off in the guess. So I do think that it runs some sort of algorithm, and that algorithm is sometimes fooled by some of the changes we make in editor, which is interesting because I would love to see that algorithm to see how the AI is projecting how seasons will go. But the main issue here, our runs against is pretty bad, 5.69. But our offense is the big problem, 552 runs scored. Like, we're only 90 runs worse than the worst runs against, but we're like 200 runs below the worst runs for, or 170 runs. So the big problem is our offense. In OOTP25, I think the pitching was the big problem, or even bigger problem than it is here. So maybe a little bit what's happened is the bottom end, the half stars and 1 stars have been kind of eliminated, truncated from the bottom of the pitching ranks. But it seems like the bottom end of the batting ranks have also dropped a little bit compared to what it might have been in OTP 25. Well, no, that's not fair though, because we're still at 44 wins. And I don't think we'd be at 44 wins if we had a bunch of 084 hitting catchers like Smiley Face Jane had. But yeah, this is 8, almost 9 times higher than the preseason prediction we got in OOTP 25. All right, let's see how this team does. We need to sim to our opening day because this is the England series. I think starts this season. So the UK series. So we're on March 20th. There are going to be a couple games, so we're going to skip to our first game, which is the 28th. Okay, so we are 0-0. The Padres and Dodgers played. They split the series one win apiece. And now let's watch this team in action as we go to our opening day. A home game versus Detroit facing Scooble. That's not a good start. And we're going to face somebody's ace, but I mean, we're facing an ace of aces here, so. All right, we'll hide scores and let's do a quick play and we'll watch the highlights. We'll watch our fictional scrubs take on the Tigers. All right, top of the first. Detroit's already got a runner on with no outs for Colt Keith.
Line drive in the left. It's going to drop into the corner for extra bases. Nice play by the left field to get back in quickly. And it holds the runners at second and third. But with only no outs, Kerry Carpenter, pretty much anything hit is going to drive in a run. Any contact. Deep enough a fly ball. Any grounder up the middle, since the infield is back, I don't think they'll be able to make the play at home. Ground ball to short. Yep, they throw to first. Got the out, but the run scores. Bottom of the first. Our fictional scrubs are up with a runner on first for Ricardo Morales with 2 outs and a 1 count. Oh my goodness! The power! Our cleanup hitter, Morales, 70 power versus lefties, goes yard against Scooble. All right, bottom of the second, still up 2-1. Tony Gallegos up. He's our 9-hole hitter, our platooning catcher, with a runner on second. 2 outs, 1-2 count. A blooper up the middle, and it drops in for a base hit. With 2 outs, the runner would have been going, and he is in safely. He scores from second. All right, 3-0, top of the 6th. Kerry Carpenter up. Leone still in the game for our all-scrub team. Draws the walk. Lead-off walk. Those do tend to come back to haunt you. 2 outs, 2 on, 3-0 count to Torkelson. Don't love this matchup. Checks his swing, draws the walk. Bases loaded for Carson Kelly. At least we have the right-handed matchup here. Oh, and he shoots it through the right side of the infield for a base hit. That will probably score 2. And it just scores 1. Bases remain loaded, but we still have a 1-run lead. 2-2 count. That's a flare in the right field, and it's going to drop in. With 2 outs, that'll probably score 2. Nope, they held the runner. Still tied. They're being very conservative with the base running. You know what? That one hung up enough that the runner might have had to hold up to make sure it fell in. All right, Zach McKinstry, their leadoff hitter. Oh, that's brutal. I didn't realize Rochella was their 9-hole hitter. McKinstry, another line drive in the left. That's a base hit. Runners rounding third, holds. Cole Keith up. 2 outs, 0-1 count. Ground ball to second, fielded cleanly, and finally the inning ends. We came in with a 2-run lead. We exit that top half of the inning with a 1-run deficit. Leonello Solli, the 6-hole hitter, is pinch hitting for the 6-hole hitter. Fly ball to right. Oh, it drops in. I thought that was going to hang up. Josh Hankins, the DH, is up. Little weak grounded to the pitcher. Throw to second. In time, but there will be no double play. 2 outs in a full count for Tony Gallegos. Checks his swing, draws the walk, keeps the inning alive. First and second for Andy Easterday. And he goes down swinging. All right, bottom of the 7th. Still a 1-run deficit. Tim Still leading off the inning with a 2-1 count. Ground ball to short. Diving stop by the shortstop. Throw to first. Oh, the throw gets away from the first baseman. A 2-base throwing error. Oh, they're saying taking first was an error, and then he advanced to second on the same error. That's pretty rough on the shortstop there, McKinstry. All right, Sokol. He is our platooning first baseman, the right-hander versus Scooble. Goes down swinging. Morales. Oh, fly ball to right field, but it's not going to be deep enough. 2 outs. Are we going to strand Tim Still on second? Mike Steenerson is up, our right-handed hitting third baseman. Ground ball to third. Fielded cleanly over to first for the out. And we strand a runner on second. Top of the eighth. Detroit looking for some insurance. Full count. Ground ball up the middle. Base hit. Leadoff single. Oh, we got out of that inning without any damage, though. Bottom of the eighth. Down by 1. 3-1 count for Dangle leading off the bottom of the eighth. Fly ball to center. Caught for the out. Oh, Georgia Tech legend Brant Herder is on the mound in relief. They went lefty-lefty, so we don't have to turn around our batters at all. Santiago pops up. And, it took us to the bottom of the ninth, but it's not 2 outs, so that's not the same as when the AI waves the white flag, so we do have a chance. Gallegos leading off with a 1-2 count. Hits one lightly to second base for the pop-up out. Easterday with 1 out and 0-2 count. This seems like a strikeout coming. And it is. Tim Still, our last chance against Jason Foley. A little flare in the right field, and it drops in for the base hit. We are still alive. Bobby Temple up. Pinch hitting, the left-hander against Jason Foley, the right-hander. Ground ball to second. That game started out so promising with a 3-1 lead, but 3 runs in the 6th really cost us. That was the game right there in the 6th inning. All right. Let's run the rest of March. There's just a few days in this month. Oof, we are 1-2. Still a better still a better record than winning 11 games in a whole season. So we've got that going for us. All right, let's run the month of April. Man, a losing streak. That's a huge losing streak. We were stuck on 3 wins for a long time there. We're playing 200 ball. We're sub 200 ball. We're below the Mendoza line for win percentage, which is pretty rotten. But we've already got almost half as many wins as we had in all of the OOTP26 sim. And we're only 4 wins behind the Athletics and the Rockies and the Nationals. And all scrub team is only trailing those teams by 4 wins right now. Ooh, I spoke too soon. Another big losing streak with 6 wins. Man, this team is pretty bad. I thought it was going to be way better than the 11 win team, but it is not. It's better, but we lost 15 in a row just now. It's June 1st, and we're 23 and a half games back. That's brutal. I doubt we have any green here on the leaderboard. Yeah, we do not. All right, let's finish the month of June. God, these losing streaks are brutal. Another one here with 11 wins. We had a player of the week, though, in Andy Easterday. Another losing, a 12-game streak this time. 11-75. Now, the good thing is, unless we lose, the next 80 games in a row, we are going to beat the OOTP25 team. But, man, this team is way worse than I was expecting. All right, list him to the All-Star game. All
Another 2-game losing streak, 2-8 in the last 10. We're up to 13 wins, but man, even the Angels, the Rockies, the Nationals, all crushing us. All right, one more day to get to the All-Star break. It is a loss. Home run challenge. I doubt we'll have anyone in here. We do not. Aaron Judge beats Lindor 12-11. Lindor was the only Met involved. It's Judge and Alvarez in the final. And Judge wins it all. 14-11. All right, let's sim a day to the actual All-Star game. Let's also see the voting results. See if we manage to get any votes. All right. None in the first screen here. Let's scroll down past shortstop. No White Sox anywhere. Now we know the pitching voting is broken for creative players and important players. So let's see if nope, 2-11, 6.75. Our lowest ERA in the rotation is 5.53. We have 4 slumping snowflakes here on our pitching staff. Our entire team, except for 2 pitchers, our entire pitching staff, except for 2 pitchers, have negative WAR. Wow. Yeah, this is pretty bad. All right, let's check out who was actually selected. They do have to select at least one of our players. Hey, congrats. Clay Dog's in the 6-0 finals. It is a bummer, though, to have to go in after a 7-game series with your team tired and your rotation not reset. Did your opponent get to rest, Clay Dog? If they went to 7-2, then it's more even, but... Okay, they took Luis Diaz from our bullpen. 3-2, 2.86 ERA, 1.05 WHIP, 9.5 strikeouts per 9. This is a stat line from a scrub. Not bad. But that is the only White Sox they took. They took the minimum. All right, well, let's see what happens in the All-Star game. See if our guy gets in. Well, it's a shootout, 17-10. The NL scored 7 in the 5th and 6 in the 8th, and I fear that our pitcher might have been in for one of those innings. Let's see. Isn't that our guy, Luis Diaz? Yep. I was right. He pitched 2/3 of an inning and gave up 7 earned runs. Do I know what I'm talking about or what? I looked at the score. I looked at just the score line here. And I said, I fear one of our pitchers is involved in this 7 or 8 run inning. And sure enough, our dude gave up these 7 runs in 2/3 of an inning. That's right. Even when the stats look good, he's still a scrub underneath. Ohtani goes 4 for 5 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. Luis Garcia Jr. is the player of the game, 3 for 3 with 4 RBI. Did he get those 4 off of our pitcher? No, it was off of, who is C. Smith? Oh, Cade Smith. Okay. All right. Well, we gave up 7 runs in 1 inning. That was our contribution to the All-Star game. All right, let's finish out the month of July.
Okay, we're up to 17 wins now. The win percentage is up to 153. Let's raise the month of August. We've already hit 100 losses, and it's mid-August. Steenerson, 6 consecutive hits. That's not 6 games with hits. That's 6 hits in consecutive at-bats. We are 26 and 111, have already been eliminated from the playoffs. And we are in the final month of the season, so let's just sim to the end of the regular season. 30 wins. So we hit 33 wins, which would be 3 times as good. But, significantly better than the OTP25 team. That was the whole point. Is these scrub teams, these scrub players seem a lot better. And they are. I mean, can we say they're roughly 3 times better because the team performed 3 times as well? Maybe. It's in that range, I would say. I mean, those OTP25 scrubs were really bad. And if you consider they're probably mostly half stars, 3 times as good. Sounds about right. 2 to 3 times as good, probably. Again, it's on a tiny basis, all right? They're really bad, so twice as good or 3 times as good is not that good. But I mean, 31 and 130 is still terrible, but it's still way better than 11. All right, we have one more game to go. We could finish with 32. You know what? Let's find out. Let's find out if we can finish with 32. It would have been cool if we already had 32, and this was to see if we could triple our win total. Oh, look at this. It's against the Tigers again, this time on the road. We bookend our season with series against the Tigers. Oh, I unhid scores by mistake. Thank goodness, because I would not have wanted to watch highlights for a 12-1 destruction at the hands of the Tigers. Jeez. All right, let's go to the postseason. All right, is there a game 163 required anywhere? Yeah, there's a division lead that needs to be settled between the Braves and the Phillies. And is there a wild card tie anywhere? Oh, there's still a game to be played. I didn't realize that. Some of these teams are still at 161. Okay, now we're done. That tie did resolve itself in the East. But are there any wild card ties? Okay, then why did it not show our achievements? Unless it's because we had no achievements. No, it's still on Pennant Chase view. So where is the where is the tie that needs to be resolved? I don't see any divisions that need to be settled or wild cards that need to be settled. Oh, the Orioles have only played 161, so there are still a few other teams. Wait, why did the Orioles only play 161? It says tomorrow playoffs begin. Oh, because I only simmed our game, I think. Okay, now it's ending the season. That's right. I didn't sim the day. We had a 30-30 player in Easter Day. That's kind of cool. Wow. So Easter Day, 37 home runs, 43 steals. Nice. 203 average, though. That's the thing. We didn't have much contact on this team. And frankly, not much power either. 230 home run guys, 120 home run guy. Everyone else single digits. Yeah, this was a very bad team. Still not an 11-win team. All right, let's watch the playoffs here. Then we'll do the postseason awards. And then we'll give away packs. And then we'll go ahead into Dr. Dynastic, whose front page already seems to be off to a good start. He's got almost 1,000 viewers already. I'm actually going to put him on another screen so I can keep an eye out. Okay, so postseason. That's right. We're going to go to the tree. We're going to go a series at a time. So let's see. We got the Reds. Let's see what we got going right here. Red Sox and Guardians playing to face the Twins. Tigers and Orioles playing to face the Astros. Mets and Brewers playing to face the Phillies. And the Padres and Braves to face it. Man, the Padres, what a brutal division. Did y'all notice the NL West? 105 wins for the Dodgers, 103 for the Padres. Imagine winning 103 and you have to play a wild card series. Brutal. And we weren't even in that division to juice up their wins. That's like a legit 105 and 103. I mean, legit as you can get, I guess, considering they played the Rockies all season. But that's pretty impressive. 2 100-plus win seasons in the same division. All right, let's see how these wild cards go. Guardians, Orioles both sweep. Mets advance to face the Phillies. Let's go Mets. And the Braves beat the Padres 2-1 to face the Dodgers. The Phillies beat the Mets in 5. Dodgers beat the Braves in 5. Twins beat the Guardians also in 5. The only series that did not go all 5 is the Astros beating the Orioles 3-1. So it's Twins, Astros, Dodgers, Phillies. This is a back and forth series. I was watching the numbers go back and forth, but the Twins taken in 7 and the Dodgers taken in 7. Both league championship series go the distance. And we have the Twins facing the Dodgers in the World Series. Looks like the Twins win it. They did. Our game score was a 1. For those of you who guessed that, congratulations. All right, let's do some postseason awards here. We checked out from the mailbox. Great Glove Awards. Whoa, look at that. We won 2 Great Gloves. Left field and center field. Now remember, Morales is our center fielder that we converted into a left fielder. And our center fielder we took the best glove we could find. And he had a decent bat. Okay. So yeah, our converted center fielder, who ended up being a 60 in left field. And our center fielder, who was just a natural 65. All right. So then next award is the reliever of the year. One of our relievers was doing all right at one point. Not so though. 15 saves, 2-8 record, 4.78 ERA. Ended up with a negative .6 WAR. Keegan Aiken, again, these setup guys have been winning, not necessarily winning the reliever of the year, but placing pretty high in the vote. This time around, Kirby Yates actually had more first place votes, but Keegan Aiken ends up with 2 more points in the voting. Yates has a more traditional reliever of the year profile with 31 saves and a 1.34 ERA, 104 strikeouts in 67 innings. But Aiken takes it. Aiken with only 70 strikeouts in 60 innings, but a 1.50 ERA. Not sure what they liked so much about this season that they gave it to him over the 31 save, nearly 2 strikeouts per 9. No, well, really what? Nearly 1 in 3/4 strikeouts per inning ish, and a 1.34 ERA. Man, Yates. I feel bad for Yates. All right, next up, Platinum Stick Awards. Will our 30-30 guy win one? No, we didn't win any because we didn't get a notification. Let's just confirm. No White Sox. Nope. Rookie of the Year, we don't have any candidates because all of our players are a little too old. Cy Young Award, not even close to having a candidate. If anyone voted for any of our pitchers, they should lose their voting credentials. Yeah, no White Sox there. Now, will our 30-30 guy get an MVP vote despite hitting barely 200? Nope, no White Sox got any MVP votes. All right. I do believe we have enough information now to do our pack giveaway. So let me generate a spreadsheet of this. Let me resize everything. All right, here we go. Good luck, everybody. All right, will this team have a regular season win percentage below 500? It sure did. Way below 500. What was our final win percentage? Like three something? No, sorry, not 3 something. 191. I was gonna say 2 something, but it was 191. Yes, below. Yes, below. Yes, below. Reb Jr., you had too much faith in this team. I had faith in this team, but I did not think they would finish at 500. I thought they would win like 50 games. Will this team finish last in its division? Yes, it did. We lose Tommy, all I do is win with that one. Will it have the lowest regular season win percentage in its league? It sure did. So we lose 21 Bizarro. We've got 4 left. And then will this team have the lowest regular win percentage? Oh, yeah. Clay Dog, because you and Reb Jr. both went from no to yes. Reb Jr. and Clay Dog both read the first answer wrong because they said it would not be below 500, but then would finish last in the division. You know what? I could probably reword that first question. It is kind of confusing, I guess. We'll have the lowest regular season win percentage in the majors. It sure did, by quite a margin. And will this team have an OT game score of 1? Yes, it did. So we're down to 2. And again, we're going to get a first place winner, but that's it. Everyone else is going to go back in the hopper for the tiebreaker. And the tiebreaker for this, for first place, is going to be the number of regular season wins, which was 31. Let me resize the columns here. So we're looking at Flying WV and Malfonso. 28 and 29. The actual answer was 31. Both guesses very close. And actually would have been the closest of anybody else. Malfonso 1 win closer. So Malfonso wins first place. Now that's rough for Flying WV because now everyone's back in it for the tiebreak. For second place. All right, so how many games behind will this team finish in this division? 64 games. Clay Dog closest with 63, despite guessing they would finish 500 or better. All right, second question. What will be the MLB rank in runs scored? I hope that's a typo from Teddy O in the first one. Okay, so the way we find out these is we do the mouse hover. And why is the mouse hover not working? Oh, wow, we finished last in everything except defensive efficiency, where we finished second in the league. Wow. Okay, so 30th, 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 30th. Points for Flying WV. Malfonso doesn't need one, so we can take that one off. Flying WV, Late to Hate, and Clay Dog. Clay Dog already with an early lead here in the tiebreak. Batting average, Flying WV, Teddy O. Oh, no, we don't need Malfonso. Late to Hate, Clay Dog. Home runs hit, Flying WV, Teddy O. We don't need Malfonso. Late to Hate, Reb Jr., Clay Dog, 21 Bizarro. Everyone guessed, a lot of people guessed 30th for the home runs correctly. All right, ERA, 30th. Flying WV, Teddy O. Late to Hate, Clay Dog, 21 Bizarro. Strikeouts thrown, dead last. Flying WV, Teddy O. Late to Hate, Reb Jr., Clay Dog, 21 Bizarro. Yeah, there was not a lot of stuff on that team for sure. Now this is the place where it really crazy. Second in defensive efficiency. So Texican wins that one. All right, lowest batting average on this team with at least 300 plate appearances. 179 was the lowest by Mike Dangle, but he only had 203 plate appearances. That means Jason Sokol, our platooning first baseman, he hit 24 bombs. Sokol hit 24 bombs, but only hit 191 in 476 plate appearances. 191. Look at that. Tommy, all I do is win, off by 1 batting average point. Nicely done. And keeps Claydog, who was second closest, from getting a point there. Playing spoiler. Lowest OPS of batters on this team with at least 100 plate appearances. Dangle again is lowest, but didn't have enough plate appearances. We go all the way down to Gallegos. 543 by Gallegos. Man, an OPS of 543 in a full season. That's wretched. Oh my goodness, a 544 by Claydog? Holy cow. That is a heck of a guess, Claydog. Claydog might not understand defensive efficiency or how to read the first question, but Claydog understands OPS. All right, highest strikeout percentage. This is a suggestion from chat the other day, and a good one, but we have to go to batting stats 2 for this one. Holy cow! 621 plate appearances. Ricardo Morales struck out 42.7% of the time. Easter Day, 42.5%. Sokol, 40.1% of the time. Over 40% of the time, a strikeout. Unbelievable. Holy, 42.7%. Man, credit to Malfonso for guessing that high. Texican with a 42. Texican almost nails it exactly. Nice job. Besides Malfonso, the only one within 10 of it. Wow. What a guess, Texican. And I mean, Malfonso, if we'd been giving Malfonso highlights, he might actually be winning the tiebreaker too. Oh, wait, that's not a green, though. Sorry. I got overly excited about Texican's guess. Yeah, really good guesses on strikeout percentage. I would not have guessed that high. That's incredible. Highest ERA on this team with at least 100 innings pitched. So we sort by ERA. We just keep going down until we hit 100 innings. And it's starting pitcher Randy Sizemore with a 9.23. Malfonso again with the best guess. Holy cow, Malfonso would have been dominating every aspect of this guessing game. 9.23. I think actually Flying W on the high side might be the closest. Hold on. So 9.23 is the answer. Get this out of my way. I'm getting lazy. Wait, why is this about... Oh, because there's 2 decimal points here for Texican. Let me clean this up. I don't think they intended this first decimal point to be there. Oh, I missed the Bizarro had a 9. I totally missed that. Bizarro with the 9 guess. Unbelievable. All right, here we go. Head into the last 2 questions. Flying WE has 5. Teddy O has 4. Late 8 has 5.
Claydog has 7. Tornado Star has 4. So Flying WV and Late Take could tie Claydog with these last 2 questions. That's where we are. Also, let's not lose sight of the fact that the starter with the highest ERA, he's a starting pitcher. He only had 102 innings. Now, granted, he was the 5th starter, so he only had 22 starts, but still, that's pretty bad. Okay, we're looking for the whip. The highest whip with at least 100 innings pitched. Charles did not have enough innings. Anderson did not have enough innings. Maldonado, 1.92. Sandy Maldonado, not to be, oh my goodness, not to be confused with 80s outfielder Candy Maldonado. His nephew, Sandy Maldonado. Sandy Maldonado. Amazing name generation by the player creation engine. Sorry, I got distracted by Sandy Maldonado. 1.92. Tommy All I Do Is Win with a 1.9. Malfonso again with a 1.94. Holy cow. Malfonso is... I think Malfonso might have a time machine. Holy. I think Tommy All I Do Is Win and Malfonso would have tied for this one. Which I think means Claydog has clinched 2nd place. Highest home runs per 9 with at least 100 innings pitched. Malfonso run the sim 100 times while waiting for the ads to run. That may or may not have run. That's the best part of that. Okay, home runs per 9. An incredible 3.3 from Sizemore with just over 100 innings pitched. 3.3 home runs per 9. That is a sick total. .3. So Teddy O is 0.6 away. Malfonso again pretty close, 0.7 away. Reb Jr.'s 0.9 away, 0.7 away. So 0.6. 0.6 by Teddy O. Finishes with 5. Oh, I'm off screen again. Sorry. Thank you, D King. There you go. So yeah, 5. So Claydog hangs on to win with 7. So you got Malfonso, our winner, our 1st place. And Claydog back to his usual position, winning 2nd places in our pack giveaway games. Congratulations to our winners. Thank you all for playing. I hope you had fun. I thought the sim was really fun. A team of all scrub level generated players. But you can see how much better the scrub level is in OOTP26 versus OOTP25. Even if you factor in for things like RNG for player creation, whether or not I made the right choices or not, RNG during the games, RNG over the course of the season, it's still a pretty big difference. So let's do this. I think I'm gonna do this again. Does it not let me split rows? I can only add rows. OOTP26, and we have 31 wins here. All right, we have as many wins almost as our bench level run in OOTP25. Right, so I think that does really support the observation that
scrub level has gotten a lot better. It's almost as good as bench used to be. And now I want to run the rest because, of course, there's not much more room to improve here. So I think bench is probably going to be moved up a little bit. I think average is going to be average because one thing I've noticed from the player creation test was they do seem to try to make sure average level is centered at 2.5. Like that seems to be a touchstone that they try to stick to. And that's why there's a big drop off actually in star level from good to average. Because I think they're trying to anchor average at 2.5. Legend and Star are very good, and so is good, but then it forces it almost to go down to 2.5 at the average level. So that that should factor in when people are deciding what creator roster, whether lowball or regular to make. All right, I think this is interesting. I'm going to keep doing it. I think maybe we just do two more of these and then we just fire up. And then I'll have enough information, I think, to do another lowball test run. In the meantime, I think we could probably open up creator roster. I think the only new rule I'm going to add is you have to have at least one pick of every position. So we know now that center fielders, there's no reason to not generate a center fielder if we're going to generate outfielders. But I like the idea of like forcing everyone to still figure out where to put their left fielder and right fielder in the form. And, shortstops all seem to be generating with lots of position flexibility as well, especially at the higher levels. But I like the idea of saying like you have to put a second baseman in there somewhere. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. I do hope people are finding this interesting, at least as much so as I am. Thanks again for the sub, Smiley Face Jane. Normally I would offer to raid into Smiley Face Jane if she's going to stream tonight, but I do want to support Dr. Dynastic and his front page tonight. So let's all go say hi to Dr. Dynastic. Okay, D King finds it interesting. That's good to know. And I did. There were several people in chat who said the spreadsheet, player generation spreadsheet streams were interesting. So I felt good about that. At least I'm not the only one who thought those spreadsheet ones were fun. So, all right, and you can always win packs too. So even if it's boring, you'll still win packs for sitting through it. All right, y'all. Let's go hang out with Dr. Dynastic in a rare late night stream for him, but most importantly, his big front page stream tonight. All right. I hope you have a good night. I will be back on tomorrow night at 10 p.m. I think let's do a bench level run of this and see how much higher, if higher than 34 wins we get. And I'll explain why the 40 is in parentheses there as well when we do that stream. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Have a good rest of your weekend, and I hope to see you Sunday night, 10 p.m. Pacific. Dr. D just went on break. We're going to raid during his BRB. Should I cancel and should we raid when he gets back? Is it more interesting if we raid? I'm going to cancel it. I think it's more interesting to raid when he's there. Yeah, I'm going to cancel it and we'll raid in after. Let's see if I have anything interesting going on in Perfect Team. I mean, it's we didn't get a raid from Ezra tonight. We didn't have the raid train from TJ. So it's not like we're bringing a big crowd in, but I do think the raids add to the excitement of the front page. So I want to help contribute to the momentum of the stream. So let's raid when he's in the stream. You played me in cap. We went 5 games, bottom of the ninth. Does the haha mean that you won, Late Tate? Which cap was it? I'm guessing the wink means that you did win. Nice. That's all. That is great. That's funny. That is funny. Oh, hey, let's get in there.
He's got a drawing. He's got a drawing going. Let's rate in. All right, his commercial break is over. Let's rate in and do exclamation point ticket, everybody. Let's win something from the doc. Iron for Phonics. Okay, I'll check that out. Not here, Clay Dog.
Why do you keep following me around? Look. Why do you keep following me around? Look.